The rules of the game. Not that there's any rules. We try and keep it within 5 minutes, but I know we've got a couple of artists here that can kind of squeak over the 5 minutes. So, keeping that in mind, just kind of look at your audience, engage, and see if people are, you can figure it out. 3 poems or 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, and then your gauge. We try to, if we don't have a lot of people, we can go around again, or if somebody has something short, at the end they can pop up and do something really short. So we really try to make it whatever you guys want to do, and what makes you comfortable. So I will start. I'm Debbie Johnson. I recently went to a workshop, and I took one of the poems that I really liked and thought was absolutely fabulous, and there was nothing wrong with it until they said, wait, there was a few things, not quite, that, it was one of those victim poems where it's, you done me wrong kind of poem, so I changed it a little bit. And I had read it, I think, this new version, my workshop edition. It's called Washes of Hues. Hues as the color hues. So washes of hues confuse the binge of sound, noises in the head scrape against the colors in the brain, the dim maddening, the deafening need to think. Thoughts rise undulating in her mind, dancing tauntily till she can't take it anymore. They did that. They made her crazy. They made her crazy so that one night she just flew. It wasn't a long flight, just a gesture to the wind, and she was gone. Metronomes of maestro pounding in her brain, not right, take flight, The hues can't erase the swirling water tones of pigment she sees inside her eyes. Sepia yellows, gray blues, shadows begging for a palette knife. Sleep eludes, scrapes the brain, washes tints to form the gameness of time on the tempered paper of her mind. They went from he done me wrong to I'm crazy as shit. So a lot of my poems, and I do have this wonderful guy that helps me do everything, Steve. So none of these poems are about him. So all the bad ones, was it? He's done me right. So this one's called Only. Only you know I need kisses in 3. I need kisses in 3s. When you left me lonely, when you left me alone, one was all you gave me. One and only one. Oh, not so bad, thank you. This one's called Sitting on My Stoop. Sitting on my stoop, I looked up to see what I thought would be a sea scraping on a beach, and said, I saw the street running past my door. The drier leaves of winter scraping hard upon concrete, rustling in mistaken cadence like an ocean against the shore. I don't remember this, but I think I put Ryan next. Did I put you guys? Bob? Mr. Bob? Yeah. Yeah. You said I'm going to go first. Let me know if you need to adjust anything, if you're cold or hot.
I want to read a shorter poem too, but this one is long, so if you could remember how long it was when I read it to you. And it's simply called Art is Everywhere. Gauguin once declared, all art is either plagiarism or revolution. I admit it, I'm guilty of both, though I hopefully choose the latter, and you choose today to live your original life or to be plagiarized into television, Amazonian techno reproduction. You see, Gil Scott-Heron told us the revolution will not be televised. You? Me? I don't own one. I'm powerless against TV. For me, TV is death by 1,000 ads. It's, well, I don't know if it's easy, otherwise Wait, yeah, it is easy. Once you slip into it, there is no other choice, no going back. You see, for me, art is everywhere. Pollock splatters anarchy across the suburban 50s deathscape. I found one of his pieces naturally created on the back door of the men's room at Cup of Joe's on Hillsborough. Someone said they saw a raccoon in it. Billy Pilgrim flies through time, knowing his future, his death. As Rafat Al-Arir declares, we are here. Gently, quietly. Knowing too his death is coming, we all know our death is coming, but do we face it, embrace it, or run from it? That is the question, is it not? That was me shouting through tears as he, Rafat, declared his Khaza brothers to be or not to be, and was bombed into smithereens for it, his organs splattering a bright white kite on its way, his way to heaven. But still, his words do not disappear. It is what and why, what we do, this strange thing, tilting at literary windmills and pointing out blood-soaked road signs along the way for others to notice. We are here. You see, art is everywhere. Even while Lady Liberty, mother, sister, brother, here we all know she was once free, or was she? Did we get it wrong? We tried and failed, attempted correction through amendment, a band-aid, or the answer. Others admired us, but now they avoid us like the police-jacketed plague we are, embargoed. We are a travel advisory nation, a pariah from freedom, our gift from France, her battered child democracy struggling under the weight of 1,000 fascistic saber cuts. A madman who can't dance, a cinematic Tarantino-esque disembowelment of her democratic virtues. She stands and fights, millions strong, a bright spring morning, young and old, gather black, white and brown, yelling, screaming, anger, spilling, 1,000 signs declare, you fuck, you pathetic excuse for humanity, you madman, this will not stand. My parents were blacklisted working at the UN by McCarthy in the late 50s. My mom was fired for her first reporting about pollution on the Cuyahoga by Republic Steel in the early 60s. I was protesting at 14 in the early 70s. Lived communally into the 80s, 90s, pursued solar energy into the 2000s, the teens. Does anything ever change? I'm tired. I just want to dance, create joy, buy old LPs. But democracy, she resists the plight, grievously wounded as any true battle-scarred warrior is, as my mother was, as your mother heart is now today. For you see, I was a proxy for Muslims for democracy last month, for Palestine to be free. Just days out of surgery, I've been bleeding for days. Ladies, I think I'm beginning to understand you just a little, though. They tell me it's okay, the bleeding for days. Art is everywhere. Is it not in these times we come to know our true metal, not in the breezy summers at the beach, our minds tarred and feathered with fear, the mental lynching become real, others dragged away, are we next? Thrown in the kettle, yes we are. No, hold the breach, this is not a Disneyland beach. We all wish to escape, to chasing seashells, mouse ears, innocence be buried in waves, laughing in the sand, including me. Instead, faces smeared, scarred, scared, bludgeoned, and blackened. Let me tell you people, this is revolution. Again and again, and not on CNN, no, though Al Jazeera gets pretty damn close. Art is everywhere. I speak of my family's Buchenwald concentration camps. They moved them to El Salvador. Art Tolino knows, Ina Carino knows, Anna knows, Rick Klaus Thies knows, Peru knows, Debbie knows, and shouts it from the podium. Art is everywhere, and yes, I'm guilty of plagiarism. Plagiarizing art, I will gladly imitate style, create my own substance. Is not imitation the greatest flattery? Yes, but is that why we want flattery? No. Originality, I apologize. To art, you master the mystery. For me, Ina, you welcome me. Anna, you honor me. All. I just messed up my own. Debbie, Debbie, are you here? Your kind heart, your selfless, relentless self. Art is everywhere. Yet the 4th of July is canceled in Angel Town. I'm speechless, angry. A helping hand, a kind word. Amidst me, the vile poison spilled on them, children playing in the park, thugs on horseback. I remember that in 1970, an alley in Cleveland, 4 police mounted 4 abreast, charging. Someone grabbed me, saved me for another day, yet the innocent among us didn't get away, did they? Who is next? You, yes, you and you. A warm meal shared, art is everywhere. My heart swells with pride as those who fight back are gassed even as the 4th of July is canceled in Angel Town. Art is everywhere. I find art in refuse, washed down gutters, swollen with rage. Remnants speak to me, discarded, abandoned, a dead squirrel roadkill. As I once was, I gently cradle, gentle her, and bury her, sending her traumatized soul to heaven, where nuts are plentiful and cars do not crush her. I don't revel in the mystery, I get my hands dirty, though I do admire its dark symmetry. A flattened can, a rusted bandolier of nails on a job site abandoned from a nail gun, the hammering and the screams echo in my mind by a man named Jesus. Was this Jesus' crucifixion, his nails, his pain, our sins today? Me, we gather them up in buses, the Jesuses and Morales, and send them back, guilty of working. Me, a Jew, asking this? You know what? I'm really pissed off. Art is everywhere. Sometimes it's horror, sometimes beauty, sometimes both. I embrace desolation as I once did on a mountaintop, a lonely, traumatized teen, and now found art blooms in the hearts of friends, sharing love, carrying me to ER again and again. While we argue who is right and who is wrong, art is everywhere. I find rusted metals, faded plastics, a visual gong for me, bottle caps, an empty broken glass, a twig that reminds me of Groot. I stumble in pain, injured, a hand reaches out, helps me out, love blooms amongst concrete, life pushes through the cracks of our fragile humanity. Art is everywhere. I need to tell you, before I go, long ago on Wisconsin Avenue above Georgetown, riding in a Dodge Pacer, the auto spaceship, I'm an addict, entrepreneur, snorting coke and thinking, trying on good thoughts amidst the refuse of my mind about solar energy and my self-thievery. Came out of my body, an old weathered hand reaches down, a sunflower bloom, it spread its seeds around the world instantaneously and changed me, changed us, changed everything, changed you. You are that seed. You see, my friend, the sunflower is coming, I know not when, but in the meantime, my friends, plant the seeds. Art is everywhere.
Didn't seem as long when you started. Thank you, Bobby. So we have Klaus and Brian and then a new poet for us. So, yeah, Klaus, he's gonna have the, this is the lineup. Yeah.
So I just want to talk about Gaza go on and on about Israel's history and all the horrible stuff that's going on. But I hope you're all paying attention, because every day hundreds of people are killed, people are being starved to death. If you want to contact your representative or senator, I have a piece of paper there. You can find out all their contact info. I also have 4 books over there, 2 books of my poetry, one of a screenplay I wrote, and one of an anthology. So first I'm going to read kind of a haiku. Haiku I wrote on the way here because I was listening to NPR. It's called Founding Father. Slaves free in 6 months in PA, so Washington rotates from New Jersey. That's a true story. Basically, George Washington was living when he was president in Pennsylvania, and because the slaves would have been free in 6 months, he rotates them in from New Jersey just before the 6 months. All right, so I've been reading for almost a year now here in North Carolina, and I don't want to read the same poem twice, but I'm going to read this really short one, called Postcards from Gaza. Interchangeable frightened faces and myriad coffin swaddled bodies of civilian parents and children, more than 100,000 mangled, burnt, and bloody victims of ruthless religious zealots misusing gifted American weapons provided by AIPAC-owned politicians to enable land theft via ethnic cleansing, as astronomical arms dealer profits and apocryphal biblical prophets fuel delusional Zionist visions, atrocities barely reported on the news and only after propagandistic revisions. Exhumed obscene pictures, initially entombed by media censors, all pieces of a simple puzzle portraying the anguished features of a forsaken people, wishing merely to be safe in their own homes, in their own state, in their ancestral place. And this one's a little bit longer, but I tried to keep those short so I could read it. It's from my book, Book is Great, which is about a year old. It's called Devoid. Devoid of color, devoid of light, devoid of sound, devoid of sight, devoid of understanding, hope, purpose, meaning, devoid of life outside, reflecting my soul's suicide. Gray skies and gray trees rise over gray lies and gray me. No reason for another breath, except that an unknown hell always beats out an unknown heaven. So life goes on defying death, but for how long I cannot say. Work in the book stacked up across the way. Codes of modes of thinking concretely. So many varieties of errors ignored completely. None help me rise above, just float me on the turbulent waves of depression. Rising and falling, the nausea appalling, until I let go and sink into the blackness. Floating nearby, a jar holds a memory, now worthless to me, despite its possible value to some other creature in some speculative future. It might become a symbol of hope for them, if they are at a stage where they believe that hope exists, before they realize that hope is just a myth, some shadow of some undefinable thing amidst an infinity of nothing. Every shape a desperate brain creates is a facade behind which lurks the pure terror and pain of knowing that only nothingness reads. And what we think is real is only a mind virus of synthetic words, quite empty, and ready to fall like a house of cards at the slightest provocation, the slightest exploration. Words are just an arrangement of symbols, strung together like some ersatz pearls, designated abstract models of massless atomic electron swirls. Minute parts of the whole of the whole, a whole which is all emptiness, the whole is the whole. Even atoms themselves aren't material, just mathematical equations, and words, even if understood, conjure up just ideas or images. They cannot create, they only masturbate. Fanciful, arbitrary demarcations of energy vibrations, emasculations of real sensations, just discretionary organizations of sets and intonations, groupings, distinctions, divisions, the embodiment of hope, the definition of hope, hope of something amidst all nothing, hope of some sense amidst all nonsense, hope of some discernible pattern, hope of anything, hope of some logic, hope of something happening, hope of the end of this infatuation with approximations and imitations. All hell would break loose if the spell of words was broken, if people weren't forced to work by intimidation, threat of starvation, or incarceration. And the more complex the world, the more complete the subjugation. Possessions are the weights on our chains, designating us indentured servants in this game, as time-saving devices erase time all the same. All inhibiting change, confusing our minds, inhabiting our tiny brains until it takes great pain to even think, let alone approach the sane. Is there no chance of ever finding meaning amidst the stark reality of cold, cruel, desolate being? Is all hope in vain? The cats are anxious, the rug is ruffled, the trees are stoic, stripped of their leaves, the sun is covered, isolated. The building sits a dumb organization of empty representation. Cars pump their poison into our atmosphere of perfection. Humans must be a freakish aberration. Skies cry acidic tears. Smoking factories are the only real life here. Living human corpses form their precious fuel. Fools ruled by more greedy, more ruthless fools. Hearses on wheels turn corners, I hear their tires squeal. Some walk, fervent legs taking forward, feet falling, then planted to catch their weight. Except those times when nothing catches them, when nothing protects them, and they unceremoniously meet the earth. Spent fuel slated to be scraped off sidewalks and returned to the dirt. In spring, we are so new as to not see through the myriad things, Maya depictions, unreal reflections of the void, which play on the blank screens of our unfledged minds. Heat is returning, hoping, yearning, living, dreams seem possible then. In summer, we are separated, refrigerated, afraid to emerge into the real atmosphere, afraid the bleak and drear will find us there, and so we live our lives apart in fear. In autumn, death patiently lies in wait, growing and sway with the elongating shadows, stalking us as we are walking, talking, walking, trying to repress the anxieties that steer us from inside, hoping they will fade away. Winter buries the last of life, forcing the revolution inside, hoping to snuff it out. The cold controls and we lie exposed as life is stripped of warm, soft flesh, revealing cold, hard bone. And we are shown what is left, that we ourselves are the skeletons who scare us, faux grown-ups who could never care for us, left alone to watch in terror as all life is extinguished again. Thanks, and contact your representatives and senators, please.
Awesome. We're going to have Brian next. I'm just going to remind people, if you do have books, you're welcome to bring them to sell. We have a whole table over here, and Nick also has some of his books. So be sure to let us know that you have a book so that we can look it up if you didn't bring it with you. So we got Brian, and then Luke, and then Lucy. We have a few people watching tonight, so thank you very much for watching.
The last corollary of Murphy's Law. Your worst case scenario is way too optimistic. As the walls of all the castles of your imagination crash from all the clouds in the heavens of your heart, dissolving in the acid rain of cold reality, the universe, muffling her laughter in the sleeve of her regal flowing robes, dark as the abyss, made from the void, cold and dark, as her sense of humor loose in all the cosmic tricksters, she loosed upon a naive and unsuspecting humanity. Loki, Krishna, Subhakam, Raven, Anisi, Eris, Hermes, Maui, Coyote, and all the myriad siblings swapping stories of their antics over endless planks of Odin's knee. Oh, what fools these mortals be, puff chortles into his mug. Thinking happy endings are just around the bend, their gaze focused on the stars, blind to the discarded banana peel that Monkey King just cast over his shoulder, waiting for the coming pratfall. Titania and Oberon toast with unbridled glee, Captain Murphy, bastard son of chaos and a hurricane, raised Valhalla for his blessed gifts to the inevitability of discord, confusion, and billions of spectacular mortal fuck-ups. Fubar, Snafu, Charlie Foxtrot, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, and all the best laid plans of mice and men, they aufgegangen, robbing world hearts of their anticipated joy. I am no pessimist, just a realist, resigned to the fact that things fall apart, our institutions will not hold. To paraphrase the 3 laws of thermodynamics, you can't win, you can't break even, and you can't even quit the game. History is littered with tales of people succumbing to the inevitable darkness, inevitable darkness, rosined up their bats, choked up their grip, dug in at the plate, refusing a call of third strike. This is based on a refrigerator magnet I had in my shed. I hate being bipolar. It's awesome. Stuck barnacle light to my fridge, the little magnet smugly stared, years of drugs and therapy, lithium, CBD, Dopamax, DPT, lorazepam, booze. Roller coaster climbs and swoops, in sunlight and in dreams. Through the house of mirror, reality sundered at its seams. Bipolar 1, bipolar 2, dysthemia. We're all crazy as a loon. No matter if we had it well, our brains are fucking Looney Tunes. And this is one based on it. I was at the Poetry Society meeting in Cary Saturday, and used a prompt hand. I'll make a steam locomotive of myself as the deep, constant sighing, puffing, smoke as heat, changing it from my phone to the devilish script format. So, well, I've opened it up, closed it, keeps screwing up the font. It doesn't translate well from laptop and phone to tablet. But here's another one. Major Kong rides the H-bombed into hell, his final bucking bronco, turned loose as the little red balloon triggers the mad dreams of generations reared, crouching beneath flimsy wooden desks, paving the way for their children's children, Kevlar armored backpacks. Our nightmare of glowing with lethal range going away in the whistling hall Let me start again. It was pretty much too fine. Major Kong rides the H-bomb into hell, his final bucking bronco. Turned loose as the little red balloons trigger the mad dreams of a generation reared, crouching beneath flimsy wooden desks, paving the way for their children's children's Kevlar armored paths. Our nightmares of glowing lethal rings giving way to the bristling hail of lead spattering through the temples of Saravati and the Muses, guaranteed by the right to armed bears. Hypocrites shed their tots and bears, crocodiles weeping as they consume the future, heedless that they will have no posterity. Bribery man babies with no more compassion than the pan, thinning up the ranks of the lost boys before they can't see through the farce. Oh, never, never mind.
Tell everybody, I mean, everybody's heard the story of Freshly Green Homes. There are a few new people here, so it did start during COVID when I was jonesing for some open mics. You guys always say it's so nice that I do this for you, but you know I'd be doing this anyway, so I just watch along. So. But thank you so much for being here all the time. So thank you. And yeah, we started it at Larry's Coffee, and it just kind of evolved into this. So I'm so grateful for you all. Next person we have up is Luke, who just wanted to find something and looked us up, and thank God I am. So, yes, Luke, please.
Thank you all. It's good to be here. Did I turn that up? It's so long. So I used to write a lot of poems, and then I stopped. These are two new recent ones, and a Yeats poem, if I may. Okay. This is called Modern Times. Modern times. In these modern times, when cigarettes aren't allowed to be sold or smoked in bars and tobacco country, we suffer not much, but when we do, we moan loudly. Loudly, not greatly, because in these modern times, volume far outweighs depth. This one's called Epitaph, and we'll dedicate it to Grandma Tutu. When I die, if that comes to pass, the verdict on cryogenics is still out. Inscribed boldly on the front, he talked with cats and every stranger that crossed his path. Inscribed in italics on the back. In his early years, he talked with God in tones of guilt, grace, and glory. In his later years, he talked less with God and more to himself. Always the gentleman, he would often acknowledge the divine and its lack of existence, something which he too now shares. I said Yeats, but John Keats, when I have fears that I may cease to be. When I have fears that I may cease to be, before my pen has gleaned my teeming brain, before high-piled books and character hold like rich garners the full ripened grain, when I behold upon the night-starred face huge cloudy symbols of a high romance, and think that I may never live to trace their shadows with the magic hand of chance, and when I feel, fair creature of an hour, that I shall never look upon thee more, never have relish in the fairy power of unreflecting love, then on the shore of the wide world I stand alone and think, till love and fame to nothingness do sink.
We always think that all we have to do is original poems, but that's great. And thank you for coming back to poetry. You know, we hope to see you a lot. Our next poet is part of our measure through like Heron Clan. That's one thing I want to remind people. There's a group called Heron Clan that Rick, Close, and Peru, myself, and Brian, and who else is part of it. But it's a gentleman in Chapel Hill that has collects an anthology, and he is collecting poetry now until October, I think. So come see me. He submit 3 poems. Sometimes you get all 3 in, sometimes you don't. But that's really where I got my start too. So I have to thank the Heron Clan. We also do a Sunday night online Sunday day at 2 o'clock. Open mic. So if you want information about that, so. Oh.
Thank you so much. I don't know what's in the stage, I always feel nervous. Okay. Title of my poem is God Knows He's the Instrument People Play. God knows He's the instrument people play to hypnotize people who claim their truth, who marks what's false. Faith is the string they strum, belief is the melody, and so they play. And so they play, but God, who knows the heart of man, plays along. He answers every name they sing. He wears each marks with grace because he listens. God is the instrument people play. Thank you. Here's another one. The title of this one is I Don't Get It. Early morning, she calls me to ask, how is life, my dear? They're overseas. I say, back home, the river danced down the hill, singing as it came. It knew my name. It touched my feet, passing, tickling, laughing. Here the sea sits vast and still. It looks at me, but says nothing. It holds no memories of me. It's a stranger with endless thoughts, none of which are mine. Back home, the river used to hum little song that taught my feet how to dance. No judgment, no question. Here the seas transit back like old seas who no longer speaks to little mind. I don't get it. Early morning, she calls me to ask, how is life, my dear, beyond the mountains? I say, these mountains whisper no stories. Back home, I could pluck berries from the hills like a memories, but these mountains don't let me near. I walk among them, but they don't see me. Even the birds here do not come near me. We share the same sky. Same year we walk together, but we're alone. They don't know my skin. I don't get it. Early morning, she calls me to ask, how's life there, my dear, under the flag of freedom? I say, freedom here wears invisible chains. You don't see the bars, but surely you feel them. Freedom to speak comes with fear. Freedom to plant needs a permission. Freedom to walk only if you have a car. Without wheels, I limp through the streets, built for wheels, not for wandering souls. Back home, I could speak before. Back home, I could speak to anybody, anyone. Eyes made, hand reached, heart open. Here the suspicion speaks before I do. There's no trust, so no one shares. Mill stays within walls, never waves, but never asks, who are you, really? I don't get it. Early mornings, she calls me to ask, how is life in the state, my dear? I say, back home, few claim to understand art. I was honest, but the sky knew, the wind carried the song, and children sang them without knowing. Here, people speak of art, but their eyes passes over souls unseen, like thunder, blind to the light, like lightning, deaf to the roar. They say they love music, but forget the silence between notes. I long to turn the world into song, where every leaf, every pause, every breath add to the melody. But I don't belong here. They see me as a jobless, untutored mind. I see them like a horse with the blinkers. They ask, who is going to hire you? I say, who can own my wind? Who can case my sky? Who is big enough to hold me? Who can be my master? I don't get it. Early morning, she calls me to say, how is life here, my love? I only say with a smile, I don't get it. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have Nick, then Ezekiel, and then Mark. So I was just gonna apologize for the door slamming, but like I've said before, it's like we always end up, when you go to open mics, you end up in a coffee shop and you get the from the lattes, so we just have to slamming doors. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Denny. I did a book for sale back there that's called From the Streets to the Friendly Skies and Everything in Between. Published it a couple of years ago and it is self-published. It's back there. And I've got 2 new poems to read. One from a recent trip on Amtrak, actually. This one's called 1 Hour in Union Station in D.C. On a recent Amtrak trip through Washington, D.C., I had a 1-hour layover in D.C. With all the recent hullabaloo about the deployment of the National Guard to Washington, D.C., and to Union Station in D.C. in particular, I had to find out, was it true? What would Union Station in D.C. look like? I had heard stories about how transformative the experience was at Union Station now that there were soldiers deployed everywhere throughout the station. One talking head guest on the TV news show said that it felt safe now for the first time ever. For the record, I never felt in danger in Washington's Union Station. I had traveled previously over the years through this station. What would it look like now? I had to find out. I checked out the station, the whole station, including the busy Amtrak area of the station and the glorious main hall area with its high ceiling, and the outside right out front of the station with its close-up view of the U.S. Capitol straight ahead, looking out from the entrance to the station. So what did I find this time around when I checked out the entire station? First, I found no National Guard soldiers at all. Not in the busy Amtrak area of the station and not in the grand main hall. So where were they? I went out the front doors to the main entrance outside, and there I witnessed a few National Guard soldiers. There were 2 groups of about 4 soldiers each with their own military truck that resembled a tank, all decked out in camouflage. What were they doing? They were standing there doing nothing, and they were posing for photos with tourists up against their military vehicles. As usual, there was no crime whatsoever, not on this midday right at Union Station in D.C. In fact, there was a small protest against immigration enforcement by the Trump administration right there in the small park across the street from the station. The National Guard were oblivious and did absolutely nothing regarding this small protest. The few soldiers who were present were posing for photographs with tourists and otherwise standing around doing nothing. That was it, that was all. That was the entire extent of the much-famed deployment of the National Guard at Amtrak's Union Station in Washington, D.C. Having witnessed the scene myself at midday during my 1-hour layover in D.C., I considered this news story definitely overplayed. Yes, it is significant whenever the U.S. military is deployed in the U.S. anywhere, but this presence of the National Guard at Union Station in D.C. was minimal and totally unobtrusive. In fact, inside the station itself, there were 0 soldiers present at the time I was there. In retrospect, I cannot have a problem with only a few soldiers posted outside the station itself. only to add an extra layer of security to the experience. Again, they did not make themselves visible or even present in the main area of Amtrak gates and travelers, just a small presence outside the front entrance. Much as I love my freedom in America, free of any intrusion of the U.S. military or National Guard, I simply cannot complain about what I witnessed myself that early afternoon at Union Station in Washington, D.C. And the next one's going back a few years, set in New York. Called The Clock at Grand Central Station. I used to meet my father at the clock at Grand Central Station, New York. I met him there for a visit. He would drive down from upstate New York to the city to visit me. We would meet at the clock at Grand Central, then we would walk around the neighborhood for a visit together in New York City. He would drive down with his wife, Joyce Cohan, now Joyce Patty, and she would go out shopping in Manhattan. She liked the camera store, I think it was BJ's, and my father and I would meet alone. My father and I would do mundane things, such as going out to eat at a local deli. The table service diner across the street from Grand Central on 42nd was too expensive. We would walk together up one of the avenues until we found a counter service deli with tables. Then we would order food at the counter and sit at a table together and eat our deli food. It was simple enough, but we had fun together. It would have been several months since he had taken the trip with Joyce into the city, so I would not have seen him for several months. My father visited together with me this way while he was still strong enough to drive the 5-hour car trip to New York City, one way for the visit and shopping trip with Joyce. After he lost strength as his Parkinson's progressed, he stopped coming down to New York. When he was still visiting me in New York, it always felt so good to meet at the clock in Grand Central. The main hall at Grand Central had high ceilings, and the round clock was dead in the center of the hall. There was always bustling crowds at midday when we would meet, including tourists taking photos of themselves and train riders waiting for a train or walking off briskly to a train. I enjoyed being a part of an anonymous crowd in New York, at a landmark train station connecting upstate New York with New York City, then meeting my father for our visit in what could be considered personal family business, our visit. First, I was another anonymous person in the crowd at the station in New York, and suddenly I was not. I was meeting someone, my own father, for a coveted visit together for a few hours there in New York City. Both of us had fun, and Joyce, my stepmother, always had fun on her own shopping in Manhattan. Then my father met his wife with their parked car, and they drove off to one of Joyce's relatives in the New York City metro area. My father and Joyce stayed overnight there, then took the 5-hour return drive back upstate the next morning. My father and Joyce took a day trip there together, including one overnight from upstate New York to the city for visiting family and relatives and shopping. Then it was back to their lives, together in retirement, back at Joyce and my father's rural farm home up there in rural New York State, some distance outside of the city of Utica. Utica was great, but it just did not have the same shopping as New York. And besides, I was down in New York City. So it just made sense for the two of them to drive down to New York for a quick visit. For my part, I thoroughly enjoyed visiting with my father in Manhattan, and perhaps catching a glimpse of Joyce just before she went out on her own to go shopping. That was how my father made time for me, and I made time for my father during his retirement, before his age caught up with him, and he eventually became unable to make the trip down with Joyce any longer. Thank you.
Say, I should have left that there.
Train Funny facts. I was on that train with Nick which I think is hilarious. I thought he was a celebrity at first because I was like, I know this guy somehow. I don't know him. I thought he was a comedian. So that's what we think. I'm Ezekiel. I do poetry sometimes. And this is a poem. This is Bad for Your Heart, Good for Your Art, which I just wrote on Sunday. In many ways, I am left to sit in it all. Instinct says, grab the love that's near, bite the hand that feeds, write the words you fear. I have ground 7 toothpicks to dust tonight, one for every single time I couldn't bear to meet your eyes. One for every time I felt that old familiar feeling in my diaphragm giving away. I was at a friend's engagement party and you were real for the first time in 4 years. Instinct says, drink a handle, pace the grooves, write another drunk letter. Remember you happened, remember I cannot happen again. We both left the party at the same time. You walked out the door first, left it cracked for me. I was stuck in the frame. I watched you, letting you get ahead of me, working on my 8th toothpick. I lost God, you didn't. How do I say I would find her again in you? I would burn beautiful things for you. What else is there? You got in your car, you left, you said goodbye. I did not say anything. Instinct says, not as much as you'd hope. Thank you. This is a fun one, real lighthearted. It's September. October's around the corner. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the days are getting shorter. My little brain, it notices things like that. And so this is an older poem, but I like it. It's called "If Climate Change is Real, Why Do I Still Have Seasonal Depression?" I have felt it behind my eyes, waiting for 5 days now. The cold rendering, so the ritual begins, of dressing to prepare, readying my heart for the embrace, cold as it is, for my love, the sun. It is short now, sparse, perhaps less than I have a taste for. So the ritual begins, preparing daily for my lack of love, to be undressed in my darkness, and it is mine to sit in its distance as the sun, not waiting because I cannot wait for what is not here. Thank you. This is another one. This is older than the first one, but it is related. This is a thing called coincidence. We were like 2 signals blinking at the same time. Do you call that rhythm? Harmony? Thank you.
Thank you. So the next ones are Mark, Michelle, and Rose will be after Michelle. See, a couple of things. Is everybody comfortable? Too much wind? Need more light? Turn the fans off.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Hello, I'm Mark, also known as Falsetto Prophet, because I have a podcast called Chemohawk Sessions, 2 words, Chemohawk Sessions. And lately I've been talking about poetry with a myriad of people. This first one, alone on the throne, It's sad to be the king, all alone on the throne. His crown lies heavy, just how it lies. A decorative prop slanted atop his skull, with all-seeing, unforgiving eyes. He sits slouched above them, far removed from those who revere him. Scepter, his ornate crutch, both legs clawed in pain, raiding the borders of his crumbling kingdom. Hell-bent barbarians lurk on, scope out, flirt with its fringe. The life of a king is loveless. Each of his servants, all of his men, cannot reset, piece together his fractured whole again. His hope of requited romance spoiled. This king knows, as his subjects know, his beloved queen beside him, policing her imperfect people, praising his presence on the dais, his formality. She loves the kingdom, its lavish trappings, far more than her king. So she stalls, echoes his exultation, raising his reputation up to and through the perimeter walls, for now denying whispers, rumors gone astray, holding the daunting years of gnawing gossip at bay. The king's reign is fleeting. His heavy crown ticking clock soon chimes on its time. Mob mentality, its lacking loyalty, strikes with lethality, replacing royalty with a rising rival. Scalp uncrowned, scepter locked away, within the confines of some cold stone display. Once a daily crutch, now sequestered from its kissed hand, its human touch. The empire and its king expire, once beating vain of his royal reign slowing. The loyal steam from his heir apparent, its flowing pain ongoing. Vast cracks of this broken kingdom showing. Uncivil crowds unease, slow going but growing. Once civilized commoners, each other elbowing, their collective rage rising, glowing. His final breath, the contested death. Those once under him stand over him, watch the coals lose glow beneath his pyre. Their king cooling ash in the moat, the mire. They've already bought and taught their new squire to defy the prior ceasefire. Though outsiders forced their own way in, this kingdom was weakened from within. Until they of their spoils tired, they'll feast and frolic like kings, tainting the former ruler, painting over his prior empire. Thank you. Left for the canvas. Trampled grapes and vineyards bleed wine. Winged pests pester a sun-kissed pair. Painters define through stroke and line. Craft posh paintings from fruit left bare. Madly seeking south, they break flight. Wings arched and strained, swathing the sky. Cameras light, snap shutters tight. 1,000 voiceless words reply. Listless love confounding to all. Lust that cools fast and fades away. Writers scrawl, warming words that crawl inside cold hearts with much to say. Left for the canvas, smashed grapes seep. Sun's hard white light pervades the lens. Painting for keeps, wounded hearts weep. Last rhyme attempts to make amends. Thank you. This last one is about smiling for the camera. Complexion at the crossroads. Captured moments framed photogenic are rarely, if not remotely, authentic. At the crossroads of indecision, the sneaking suspicion of superstition, every conflicting choice, an impossible decision. You're stuck with your pick, no redo or revision. Smile wide, take each say cheese, misery in stride. When how you feel and the photographer's ideal face a conflicting collision. Consider their praise good as gold, seasoned with grains of salt, their derision. When you pretend for the picture, at each smile marker along the way, you trade today's feelings for a longer win. Your pearly whites hold power, your dimples a say, in making worrisome weight a little less way, at the small cost of a shallow grin. Carved laugh lines lie as the crow's feet fly, like the roots of your natural hair, can be cut, colored, curled, dry blown, but when body and behavior don't parallel, Whatever wig you wear, surface smile you share, your dark thoughts, twisted roots, linger like cheap cologne. Your complexion at each intersection changes. What you fake upon your face becomes a mask you wear. Forced smile milestones, crooked wayside exchanges. Your laugh lines cannot distinguish genuine laughter from condescension. You wear the toll of life's erosion. Strained smiles feel strange on your chin, but turned upside down leave corrosion, the contagion of an ear-to-ear grin, a trending chain reaction explosion. Stop some scars at your skin, but when your present tense is pretense, the band-aid of charade wears thin. The older your skin, the deeper each scar, revealing the roughness of the road, and if you followed it far. Effort, distance converge to a matching blemish you wear as a souvenir. A graceful face for the high road, but deep-seated furrows when you swerved or chose to veer. Each line etched into your well-traveled face leaves a detailed blueprint, deep-set impression, a recorded entry you can't erase. Features a roadmap of sharply learned lessons, every numb, dumb, and dangerous decision. Those missteps you can't unmake, nor their damage lessen. Thank you. And next is a dear friend, Caroline Michelle, to wow us all this good evening. Thank you for coming.
I was just gonna say, if anybody hasn't signed up, there was a second page up there, so if anybody did walk in, I know Celeste put up that, but if anybody else who signed up and wants to read, just download the second page. Is it so?
I'm Michelle.
Pretty much done.
I'm going to present my lifetime's work in poetry, Two Homes. So in all of this career work, my favorite hobby is Tai Chi. And Tai Chi is really the poetry of martial arts and kind of physical movement. So I did a Tai Chi poem. Okay. So we're going to do this over here. I'm going to project. And I'll do a Tai Chi poem. Don't know if you've had that before. Balance of philosophy and motion. Breathe in, breathe out. Shift and turn. Gather and release. Retreat to advance. Push out to blend. Let the energy pass by, only to gather and release again. Rising and falling. Push out to withdraw. In between all of these we find balance. For is balance static, or a mere moment in the dynamic? Is it found in stillness, or discovered through power and quickness? The tree rooted in the earth, a bird aloft in flight, a leaf gliding upon the river. In which one do I find my teacher? Is balance something to grasp and control, or to let go and allow to unfold? Perhaps the answers can only be found by living life in spite of the unknown. Balance of philosophy in motion. I do very fun that. I learned that. So, my only other poem was written around October, a few years ago. So, it's very seasonal. No boundary between earth and sky. There is a valley sheltered yet exposed, fertile yet empty, beautiful and isolated. The season is quickly changing, the autumn winds faintly howling, bringing chill, not quite freezing. The blanket of trees covering the rim of the bowl are just turning into a quilt of warm colors. It is a time of transition, the in-between of lush vitality and dormant rest. It is a time of preparation, for the clear march of winter has started and waits for no one. The plants may rest in the cold, but for those with warm blood, we must continue moving, striving, living, in order to see the plants awaken again. It is a time of harsh lessons, where fairness and justice are not a given, and the circle of life takes as much as it has given. While warmth leaches from the air and the earth, it is easy for hope to fade. Here in the sheltered ridge of the mountain, we are also exposed, with no boundary between earth and sky. There is no escape from the coming winter. But as the darkness of shorter days will be overcome when spring awakens, the time of preparation is forward-looking in twofold. The immediate future of the harsh winter, and also the falling promise of spring. Here in the valley, where earth and sky kiss, where opposites exist together, I look for my center. I wonder of the valley of my soul, sheltered yet exposed, fertile yet empty, beautiful yet isolated. I wonder of all the contradictions I hold. So I look to the valley and study its lessons. I remember its hope. I close my eyes, find my center, where the all resides, and realize there is no boundary between earth and sky.
So I used to do Tai Chi too, and my daughter said I was doing better when I did the Tai Chi, so maybe that was an indication I need to go back. Thank you. That was something that was totally different. Love it. So the next artist that we have coming up, TheRozethatstayRedd. I want to tell you a little bit about how we met. We, Freshly Brewed Plums also does an open mic on the first Wednesday of every month at the 5 Point Senior Center. It's an afternoon one, and it's a little different than this kind. It's unmiked. Rick Klaus has been so kind as to step in when I'm not out. Janice and Celeste are also some of the ones that have been there, and anybody else? Yeah, you guys have been there, you guys have been there. So if anybody is free on the first Wednesday of every month, please come down and see us at 5 Points. So,
How y'all doing? I'm actually really loud, so I'm to the side. Well, I'm a spoken word artist, and I'm only going to do one piece because all my pieces are really long. But I'm actually going to give y'all a couple of titles so y'all can help me figure out which one to do. The first one is I'm Just So Artistic. The second one, I had to lose self in order to gain God. And the third one, that woman don't look like what she been through.
First, artist, the other microphone.
Artist?
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta hear it.
Okay, so I start on my poems a certain way and I finish it as well. And this is I'm Just So Artistic. Let me unwind your mind and take you out of the box that you put yourself in. Once awakened, you will move as such, and your mind will never sleep again. I'm just so artistic. When my paper hits the pen, my mind begins to spin, taking me back to the ages of 9 and 10, when it all began. See, whenever I heard music, it moved through my soul. I could feel it in my bones. It made my my body whole. By the age 11 and 12, words had me under its spell, even though I seen them backwards, and sometimes they were hard to spell, but only time would tell. When 13 and 14 came rolling in, words became one of my best friends. I could make pictures with my words, tell stories with indelible ends, or I could make the impossible possible with my pen. When 15 and 16 came, I then understood. I was not like my dad. Drawing wasn't in my blood, but I realized then that praise dancing and stepping was. During that time, I wrote a song and even a play. But mean words were given to me, and that alone took my words away. I didn't start back writing again until my mom died, and I had to find her that way. That day, my words came back, but they did not stay. See, I was 19 and didn't understand what words could be in this world to me. So it took me some time for me to find my words again. I was 24 or 25 when I did my first open mic. That was right after a friend of mine died. My heart was broken. All I could do was cry. See, my life was falling apart. I was ready for my new start. So at that open mic, I sang, rapped, and danced all night. I was fired. Not even Woodard could have put me out. But honestly, that wasn't the type of art that I wanted to be about. My longing was to give all my gifts to God, no matter what they may have been. I knew from the start He was my only true friend. He's gotten me out of situations that no one knew I was in. There was no one there with me, but He was deep within. And with Him, I could never pretend. But for so long, I listened to other people and the way they said I should be. So I took myself from God and laid every gift that He gave me to the side of the corner in the back of the closet where the lesbians hide. With my hand over my mouth and tears in my eyes, life was really life for me. But now that I'm 37, and I now know that God is the only God in heaven, and He sits on the throne, and there's no one that can take me to Him but Him alone. So with that being said, I love you all, but your opinion is your opinion. If it's not going to help us be better, I'm not hearing it. You can talk, doesn't mean I have to listen. Not trying to be disrespectful, just staying on the mission. See, when it came to art, I knew from the start that it was meant for me. Because whenever I do any kind of art, it literally sets my soul free. So whatever, however, no matter what it may be, singing, rapping, dancing, stepping and writing too, always do your best in everything that you do. Your best might not be my best. My best might not be yours. When it comes to doing something for God, no one is keeping score. See, God didn't give you your gifts for you to sit them down and not use them. So pick them up and learn to juggle them all and never ever let one of them fall. Some people have to find gifts looking from store to store. If you didn't have to find your gift, God personally gave you yours. So don't slap Him in the face by not sending it back to the sender. Oh yes, my God knows if you are a pretender. So be the definition of art. Let it move through your body and live in your heart. You can do whatever you want to do in this life, but the first thing you must do is start. That's the only way to finish with no guilt in your heart. So please, if you haven't yet used your art, today is the day to start. If not now, when? We really don't know when our time will end. So pick up a pen and paper. Listen to a beat. Dance to a song. Sing or speak. No matter what it may be, anonymously revealing truth. Just do art and let art do you. It doesn't matter how others see the art you do. And just in case you didn't know, but honestly, you probably do. The gifts you don't use, you'll surely lose. So just do you. And now that I have unwound your mind and took you out of the box that you put yourself in, you
Thank you. Thank you for coming down. Sure. And,
Are you guys going to see the thing today?
all right, we've got Sonia and John after that, so. Okay. The first two poems, I want to take a poll. So I want you to listen to the first two poems and let me know which one you like better, the first one or the second. First one's called No Regrets. Watch the water and go over the moving palms, reflecting on all the chapters in my life, all the people I connected with and those who I've hurt, all the places I've been experienced, I've had, books I've read, puzzles I've done over the years. Bird flies into my vision, sits with me for a while. My mind wanders as I admire the different colors. The glitter in my toenail polish reflects in the sun. Back to the ocean waves, and the breeze tossing the hair around my ears, beckoning my sun hat to blow away. Have I led the life I wanted to live? It's more than halfway over. I've been in the driver's seat most of my life, so if I'm not where I'd like to be, the only person I can blame is myself. I pray to God to make the rest well worth the ride, to have no regrets, not a single one. Okay, number 2. This is called Thank You Silence. Sitting in silence, acknowledging the wind moving my hair across my face, sipping my rosé in a stemless tumbler, pressing the palm of my hand, reminiscing about the first 2/3 of my life. Where have I been? Who have I met? Where am I going? Did I live life too passively? Ponder. Who will remember me when I'm gone? What will they remember most? Was I kind enough, generous enough, forgiving enough, or just enough? Who have I hurt, and is it too late to make amends? The seagull brings me back to the present, calling in my ear. The waves of the sea push closer, water merely touching my toes. What do I want to be remembered for? Have I made a difference on this earth? Have I influenced growth, happiness, fond memories, and souls to cross my path? I paid it forward, planted any seeds, for others, for getting this far. With the time I have left, I want to make a difference, a positive difference in someone's life, an unforgettable difference. May my legacy pass on to the next generation. I know deep down in my heart I do not want to have lived this life in vain. The tide has reached my toes. I flinch at the coolness of the water. I take my last sip and I look into the horizon. The answers will come. I will trust the process. I will continue to be grateful. May kindness continue to fill my heart. Thank you, silence. Okay, number 2. The first or second poem, which did you like the most?
Well, I know, but can you say who wants one, and then you can count who wants one? You know what I mean? Because are you going to count the
Okay,
numbers?
how many like the first poem? Okay, how many like the second? It's like 50-50. That's great.
Can I give an honorable mention? to your outfit.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Okay, this poem is called AI. AI is taking over the world. Battlestar Galactica will be here before we know it. I'm concerned, are you? Our children are making friends with manipulative robots instead of learning how to socialize with real people. Think about it. 10 hours a day with a robot, or 10 hours a day with a human. What direction does humanity go after a generation of this? Watch out, society. You're dissolving us instead of evolving us as a human race. We don't want to live in a world where robots are more important than humans, animals, agriculture. We need our planet to exist. We need each other, not these damn robots. So I say, go to hell, AI, go to hell! Okay, I have one more short one. It's called My Yellow Fellow. Little kayak in yellow, won't you be my fellow? Simple as you are, you make me feel whimsical.
Thank y'all so much for coming. I will see y'all later. Signing out.
Without you, yellow kayak.